Welcome to the Claim Your Day podcast. Here, it's all about taking full advantage of the time we have today and becoming intentional with our actions so we each can have the impact we want. If you want to stop drifting through life and start directing your life, and you're open to a short podcast from someone who's working at the exact same thing, then welcome. You're in the right place, my friend. Hi, I'm your host, Nick Mazey. To respect your time and so you can claim your day, let's dive right in. Hello, my friend, and welcome. Welcome to episode 44 of the Claim Your Day podcast. I'm glad you're here. I'm thrilled that you're joining in and doing the work so that you can be intentional with your life, guide it where you want it to go, living out your values for what's most important to you, your life, your family, and the work that you do. Hey, before we really get into this episode, this is the last episode of the series on the mid-year check-in. Before we get into it, I do want to give you one quick announcement, a little bit of housekeeping. I mentioned it at the beginning of the last episode, and that's the Claim Your Day podcast. It's going to be going to one episode a week. What's really going on is I'm really trying to create these resources for you. I love creating the podcast and this material, but so much of making progress needs to be action. It needs to be with the actions that you take. And listening to a podcast, obviously, I think there's a lot of value in it. That's why I do all of this. Same time, I know having specific resources that you can use, implement, print, fill out, all those good things, whatever tools that you need, that's going to be a lot more helpful than just a podcast. So I need to be able to dedicate some time to making sure that creating these resources for you. That's what I'm doing with that. So it's going to be one episode a week. Don't worry, the Claim Your Day podcast is staying here. It's not going anywhere. I just need to make some adjustments to how often the episodes are released. So thank you. On to the episode. This is the last of a series. We did a 4-episode series for a mid-year check-in. If you're not listening to this episode when it first comes out, no worries. You can actually check in with yourself on the progress that you're making towards your goals and what's most important to you. You can do that at any time. You're allowed to. You're allowed to reflect on where you're at and what's going on and make adjustments so that you can continue to get better, so that you can continue to make progress, continuing to be intentional, claiming your day, and being able to live that life you want to live. You can check in with yourself at any point in time, whether if it's weekly, monthly, quarterly, or on a semi-annual basis for a mid-year check-in, however it is. But if you missed any of the previous episodes, make sure you go back and check them out. It really does lay the groundwork and the foundation. If you miss them, you don't have to stop listening to this one right now. You can use this and just they're all standalone, so they're all gonna have some benefit for you. But hey, right now, you've already reflected. You've checked in. You've reflected on where you're at, what's going on, maybe what's holding you back. You've made some adjustments and you've made some plans on how you can make the most of the second half of this year. You've done the halftime evaluation, and now you're ready to go conquer the rest of this game. So how do you reignite your motivation? Or how do you maintain that momentum for a strong finish to this year? I want you to think briefly about somebody that felt a little bit of an energy dip mid-year or halfway through a project. The energy and the motivation, all that just started to wane. But they were able to find a renewed sense of motivation. They were able to build themselves back up, get some of that spark, some of that energy back. And they did it by focusing on the positive impact of their goals. And they push through strong to the end. Well, doesn't that sound great? Don't you want that too for you, for this second half? But sometimes you feel that initial enthusiasm. Maybe you set some New Year's resolutions or some goals. And do you ever feel that initial enthusiasm start to wane during the year? Well, if so, you're certainly not alone. Not by a long shot. But that's what this episode is going to be about. It's going to be about rekindling your why. and celebrating some progress, implementing just a few strategies to help you stay motivated and moving forward. These are crucial. That movement is crucial for you achieving your goals in these last few months of the year. So we have just a few points. I know normally I do 3. Today I got 4 for you. So that's it's a little bit of a bonus one. I like to try to keep it simple for the episodes. That way it's more actionable. And if I had 94 different ones, there's no way you'd be able to remember or do all of them. So today we have 4. First point or insight I want you to think about as far as really reigniting that fuel for the rest of your year is revisiting your why. Your why. It's important to connect our goals with our deeper values and purpose. We talked about this earlier in this series, and I talk about it a lot on this whole podcast. But the more that you connect your goals and your actions, like what you're trying to do, with those deeper values and kind of what resonates with you in your core, the easier it's going to be for you to keep doing what you need to do. You might not always feel motivated and feel some of that rah rah woo woo stuff. That's okay. But when you know it's so valuable to your core beliefs and your values, you're going to do the work. And that's going to help you to make progress and keep moving forward. Even when some of that heightened motivation and energy wanes, you're still going to do the work because those actions are connected to your deep values and your why is most important to you. Connect those again. Remind yourself of what you're working toward and how it resonates with your values. That's the first point. Is just reconnecting with your why. And the second one is celebrating milestones. A lot of us have these big goals, and I'm sure you have some things that you want to accomplish in the long term. It might be for your 1 year, you're trying to knock out by the end of this year, or it might be a 5-year goal. The longer these goals get, the more important it is to celebrate milestones along the way, because you're going to have to take a lot of steps to get there. The better the better and the bigger the goal is, the more steps it's going to take. And you're not just going to make large leaps. As we've talked about a number of times on this podcast, the smaller the steps that you take, the easier it is for you to get started, get back on track, to keep going. So much value in focusing on those small steps. But you lose some of that value if you don't remember to celebrate the milestones along the way. Otherwise, you're just going to get stuck in taking step after step and might get a little bit miserable with it. So celebrate these milestones. I want to encourage you to acknowledge and celebrate the progress that you make, no matter how small. Make sure you're doing this throughout the second half of the year. Give yourself some credit, a little mental pat on the back, or do something more to celebrate the progress you're making. And that way you can keep pushing forward and ultimately achieve more than milestone, but the actual goal. So that was the first 2. We have revisiting your why. You're making sure you're connecting with your why and checking in and really bringing that into the goals that you have. Make sure you feel that connection there. It's going to help you to keep moving forward. Celebrate those milestones. That's definitely going to help you to keep moving forward. The third point is building accountability. Have you shared your goals with others? Maybe your spouse, a good friend. You do got to be a little bit careful on who you share them with. Some people want to share stuff on social media. There's some benefit for that public accountability. I'm not here going to split hairs on which side of the argument is best. Some people say only a very small group of people. Some people say share it with everybody and you'll have more accountability. Personally, I don't mind who hears my goals. I don't announce them all over the place, but I don't keep them hidden. And then there's a few people where I share a lot more about with my goals. That's me. That's personal. But you know what? Have some accountability. Whatever makes the most sense for you and your goals. Like if you have a private goal, don't go sharing it on social media. You know what I mean? But build accountability in there, because there is some benefit. 'Cause you're going to be able to get some help, some guidance, and also just knowing that you have somebody to be accountable to can sometimes help you to do those actions that you don't feel like doing when you don't feel like doing them. It's like having an accountability buddy you go to the gym with. Sometimes you don't want to disappoint them when you might end up otherwise you might end up disappointing yourself, but you don't want to disappoint that other person. So you show up and you do the work. So build some accountability. And the last one really is just about helping you to maintain that energy and that well-being with self-care, making sure you're allowing yourself to rest, managing those energy levels, and really caring for yourself and your well-being. Later on, I'll do a lot more about self-care and well-being in this podcast, because if you want to achieve your goals, if you want to be intentional, guide that life where you want to go, and really to live out your values, you've got to care for yourself. As I say, you can't pour from an empty cup. Well, if you're burned out with no energy, getting no sleep, not feeling your body right, all that stuff, there's no way that you're going to be able to perform at your best. But without taking it to an extreme, as you're trying to push through the rest of this year, make sure that you are doing a little bit of self-care, you're caring for your body, you're resting when you need to rest. That's going to help you to maintain those energy levels, and you need a little bit of energy to do the work that you need to do so that you can achieve your goals. A great way to be able to be consistent and have that perseverance that you need is connecting this to your goals, so you can stay motivated through this final stretch of this year, and you can demonstrate that perseverance and commitment to your goals by bringing in your values, how all these things, how your goals, how what you're trying to achieve really connects with your values, is what's going to be able to make a big connection for you to be able to do the work to achieve your goals. Just stay committed, stay persistent. There's that old saying that says success favors the persistent. I like the saying. I know it's valuable. It's tough sometimes though. And your persistence, see, you can be persistent. You really can. It is a choice. You can be disciplined. You can be persistent. It is a choice that you can make. And if you follow these 4 points from this episode, it's going to make that a little bit easier. You can just push through the drudgery, and not really worry about connecting what you're doing to your big why and your core values. You can forget celebrating the milestones. You can do it all alone with no accountability, and just burn yourself out without maintaining that energy, that well-being, or that self-care. You can do that. But that just sounds terrible. It sounds terrible. Instead, do these small steps, these little action points that will help make it a whole lot easier to reignite that fire, to have that strong commitment, make that perseverance and that persistence a little bit easier by doing these things. It's all going to help you to achieve those goals and to live that life you want, with being intentional. You're not drifting anymore. You're being intentional with your life and your actions. And these simple things in this episode can help you to really be able to continue that through the end of the year and the end of this time period that you're halfway through. So just a quick little recap. Revisit your why. Connect with your core values and how your goals relate to them. You spend just 5 minutes on this. Simple, easy, you can do it. Reconnect with your why. Identify some sort of reward system so that you can celebrate those milestones. Build in accountability. Identifying a person or a group, family member, whatever it is, that you can share your goal with, that you're working toward, and ask them for some help and support, keeping you accountable. And the last one is just maintaining that energy and that well-being with some self-care and doing what you need for your body so it can perform how you want it to perform. All right. Look, you can do this, my friend. We're at the second half of this year. You can finish strong. You can keep going. You can keep moving forward. A little mid-year check-in can really help you to do these things. If you missed any of the previous episodes, make sure you go back and check them out. As always, you can go to nickmazy.com for more resources to listen to the episodes there. And please rate and review this podcast. There's millions and millions. There might be a billion. I don't know. But I know there's millions of podcasts out there these days. And without your help to help share it, people aren't going to find that information that's here to help them succeed as well. All right. Here's to you, my friend. Can't wait to talk to you in the next episode. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Claim your day. Make the most that it can be. And hey, finish this year strong. All right. Can't wait to talk to you again in the next episode.